Other news tonight, almost 4 months since the big freeze, Texas lawmakers have wrapped up their legislative session with some measures that they're hoping will address some of the deadly problems that left millions in the cold.
Fox 26 business reporter Tom Zizka looking at what did and didn't get done to protect the state's electricity grid. Tom.
Rashi, Jonathan, good evening to you. February's winter storm happened while lawmakers were in session, so they immediately showed up in Austin, responding with a lot of promises and hearings to fix what was broken. At least one critic tonight says the danger of another energy grid collapse still remains.
My biggest gripe about what they didn't do is they didn't get to the bottom of what happened.
Houston businessman and former mayoral candidate Bill King is not impressed by the efforts of the legislature. He helped study the weaknesses of responding to Hurricanes Ike and Rita and suggested a similar effort for the big freeze. Legislative hearings seem to offer promise that lawmakers were inspired to find and fix the policies that allowed the state's power grid to fail. But King thinks that icy resolve thawed as the weather warmed.
We don't even know what we don't know about this. And for them to go off and pass this sort of BS where they say, oh, the regulars don't take care of it, we've solved the problem and go home to our constituents, really gets on my nerves.
With the closing gavel of the legislative session, lawmakers passed a handful of measures aimed at the state's electricity business. Among them, a requirement that power producers weatherize their facilities without citing specifics. An emergency alert system will notify consumers of potential outages. ERCOT's membership will be appointed by lawmakers rather than the governor, and billions of dollars worth of ratepayer-backed loans and bonds will be available for electric, power, and gas producers to cover their financial losses.
We're paying for the negligence of the Texas legislature and the Texas executive branch in not solving this problem before we had a crisis. And what's particularly discouraging about it is we're going to be paying that bill with no assurance that we've solved the problem for the future.
The legislation passed by the House and Senate is headed to Governor Abbott's desk. It's presumed he will sign it. Meantime, Bill King says he plans to start an online petition as early as this week, asking for an independent commission to do the hard work he says Texas politicians failed to do. Watching Your Money tonight, Tom Zizka, Fox 26 News.